Hi everyone, we're here with the Tennis New Zealand CEO Julie Paterson and also the Tennis Auckland CEO Marcus Reynolds. How's everyone going with the lockdown, I guess, in the Tennis New Zealand, Julie? You've been a little bit different than what we're used to.
Yeah, it is a bit different. I'm actually really impressed at how well it is working. We have, set up, everyone's working from home, clearly. Our IT systems are working pretty smoothly. We're having regular catch-ups with all of the staff, through Zoom meetings. We had our first Tennis New Zealand board meeting last night. That was an interesting experience. It's a little bit challenging, trying to have a 4-hour meeting over Zoom with a lot of people's views and perspectives. But otherwise, I think we're tracking along really well. But we're busy, but yeah, getting there.
Awesome. And in Tennis Auckland's world, Marcus, I guess a similar sort of situation for you. Very busy times.
Yeah, very busy times. Probably never been busier, to be honest. Things don't stop, so the team is still working. They're all home as well. Look, morale's been pretty good. It's pretty high. There's plenty of banter flying around, which is good. So it's sort of business as usual for us. I think the most important thing is staying connected. Indeed.
And to that point, I guess we wanted to just take 5 minutes before the Easter break, I guess, with people, just to discuss some updates and some movements in terms of where we got. And obviously, everyone's really eager to get back on the court. And today, Tennis New Zealand, in coordination with the tennis regions around New Zealand, have released some guidelines on our views on return to play. Julie, I don't know if you'd like to just share kind of how that document's come together.
Yeah, we started working and thinking about this a couple of weeks ago when the alert levels came in with the government, and we needed to very quickly understand what that might mean for tennis. So we put together some guidelines at the time. We've looked at a couple of other sports, badminton especially, and Marcus did some good work on this from a Tennis Auckland perspective, and then started to think about what this might look like when the alert levels start going back down. So it was really important that we had a consistent view across the country around what it needs to look like. And so we involved all of the regions and all of the venues and as part of that conversation, as well as getting Tennis New Zealand board feedback.
And Mark, there's a venue owner and operator yourselves at Tennis Auckland, but also obviously a big advocate for clubs, I guess. What does it mean in terms of having really clear and a clear part? I guess it's essential really as a venue operator that you need to know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, look, 100%. I think as a venue operator, all you want is clarity and consistency. And so it's good to have the regions contributing, Tennis New Zealand in there as well. Just being on the same page and having that discussion. So making sure that we're all having our say and we're representing our clubs and our members, but the facilities and the casual participant as well. That clarity and consistency is key.
So obviously one of the guidelines, people are welcome to have a look on the Tennis New Zealand website. We'll be promoting them and sending them out for everyone to have a look at our interpretation. I guess just Julie prefacing it to begin that we are obviously open to any information we get from the government that might alter things. We're very open to making changes as need be.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that the transition from level 4 down to level 3 actually isn't going to shift significantly, and I appreciate that is going to be a real challenge for some members in the tennis community, and is none less than our coaches. So what we really want to be able to do is return to tennis as quickly as we can, but we have to do that alongside the government and Ministry of Health guidelines. So we're very, very open to refreshing these the minute that the new guidelines come out from the government, and we'll be reviewing on a regular basis.
And so probably one thing that people will notice is if we do step down to a level 3 environment here in New Zealand, we're anticipating that we still keep tennis basically as a sport closed, or a venue's closed at least, and no organised tennis. So effectively the same as where we are in the level 4 lockdown. I know that was there was discussion that had around that, and how do we actually come to that, that point and that reasoning?
Yeah, look, from a Tennis Auckland perspective, having the right balance. I think it's important that we balance, the safety, health, and well-being of participants and players and members with the commercial reality. But at the end of the day, that consistent approach and making sure we're looking after people and taking a long-term view is key.
And we all know, obviously, it really is. We're all in it together, and the New Zealand government's definitely looking to stamp this thing out. And I think, any way that we can do it is hopefully going to be beneficial for all of us in the long term. So playing our part with that is really important. But turning to our clubs a little bit, I guess any advice you'd give to clubs now? Obviously, we're not in the worst timing for tennis, let's be honest, with a lot of activities slowing down. But I guess what can clubs be doing whilst they're closed and they're not operating to ensure that, I guess, their members are feeling supported, comfortable, maybe their coaches as well?
Look, I think that's a really good point, Gareth. I think it's really important that our clubs are thinking hard about how they support the coaches. We know that coaches are, primarily out of work at the moment if it is part of, their full-time roles. And so that will be really, really challenging. I think there's a few things that clubs can do. And one of them is first and foremost making sure that their coaches are okay. But they can, we're like Tennis New Zealand and Tennis Auckland as well, I'm sure. We're all in planning mode at the moment and planning for our return to tennis. And we need to be all ready to hit the ground the minute that we, can basically, once we get the green light to go back to playing our sport, we need to be ready and prepared to get on the court straight away. And some of that is going to be thinking around membership for the next 12 months. What is that going to look like? We need to think really realistically about whether or not people can pay full membership subs in one go. Can we start thinking about having, different payment systems to allow people to, spread payments over a 12-month period? Can we look at rolling subscriptions? Can we, a whole lot of things that clubs can be starting to think about that they perhaps might have thought about previously, but have never had the time to implement. So, now is a really good time to be doing a lot of planning and preparation for making our sport as open and accessible as it possibly can be.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's been a real mantra that I think a lot of conversations have been about using the opportunity for positive change and affecting change. And the reality is we all know the world's maybe going to be a little bit different, and how can we be adaptable? And I think we all want tennis to come through and to be a sport that, that can actually thrive going forward, and so therefore as organised as we can be for when that comes. In an Auckland, Tennis Auckland environment, any specific examples, any preparation work I guess you guys have been doing, Marcus, to get ready for return to play, either yourselves or for your clubs?
Yeah, look, I just want to sort of back up what Julie just said around have an exit plan. I think it's really important clubs have got an exit plan when we drop down to level 2 and tennis can get underway. I think the main thing for Tennis Auckland is, looking ahead to next year and next season, I think the positive side of this, if there is a positive side, is that people's thinking will change and a willingness to look at new formats, look at new styles of membership. Membership doesn't have to mean just a 12-month sub. It can mean a range of different things. And it's pretty fair to say that some clubs haven't needed to look at that up until now. So I think the main thing for Tennis Auckland is getting alongside clubs in that capability space, but also that membership space, and getting people working together in a positive way to look at how we can launch into next year. And then I think there are a few sort of small tactical things we can do. Look, Love Tennis is great. That worked really well last year. So look, can we do Love Tennis along with a season launch that's on steroids? How do we do that? How do we allocate the right amount of resource to really launch strong next season and try and make up any sort of divide?
100%. And look, I would say as well that these conversations are ongoing in all the different regions in New Zealand, and CEOs and representatives of the regions associations are 100% on board with this thinking as well. So we are ensuring that the whole country is kind of, at the top level at least, is getting together and thinking, and we really want obviously that to flow through to the clubs around the country. So just lastly, whilst we're locked down, I guess obviously we just touched on Love Tennis and some really exciting stuff that we're hoping to kind of be ready to hit the ground running from a national point of view. Julie, anything people can do whilst they're in lockdown? Any sort of opportunities to keep the tennis skills up?
Plenty of opportunities for that, Gareth. The one other thing that I did really want to touch on was around, again, during lockdown and this opportunity, hopefully with people with a bit of time, is thinking about your IT systems. And, is this now an opportunity for you to be transitioning to Club Spark? We'll be looking at the Book a Court, module as part of Club Spark. Book a Court is an awesome way of opening up your courts and making them more accessible to people who may not want or be able to afford to take full membership with clubs. This opportunity to be thinking about doing things differently, but using technology as a vehicle to manage that. So, let's make the most of this opportunity while we can so that we're ready to go as soon as we are able to.
Brilliant. Hey, well, look, thanks very much, Julie and Marcus, for your time. Just reiterating again, those guidelines for offensive play. If you interpret it right now with the situation now available at tennis.kiwi/COVID-19. So that's tennis.kiwi/COVID/19. -19, I think it is, sorry. But you'll be able to find that from our homepage anyway there. We do want to encourage your content. We want to encourage you to send stuff in to us. Home Court NZ is what we're using as a hashtag. So anything you're doing at home, any way to keep the skills up, do send that through to Tennis New Zealand. And also keep an eye on our Sky Sport Next content. We've got some coaches from all around New Zealand getting together, working on things. They're obviously really keen to get their skills out, and you'll see some exciting stuff from them and also some of our pro players on the Sky Sport Next channel. So do check out Tennis New Zealand website. Hope you're all keeping well. Have a happy Easter, and thanks again, Julie and Marcus.
Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Gareth. Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks,